Hello friends, so welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video I have brought you an important question paper of first semester B.Sc BCA Generic English Feb March 2023 examination, and this question paper belongs to Bangalore North University. But don't be so upset. This question paper can also be used as a practice paper for the Bangalore University students. So BU students, you need not worry about it. This question paper, you consider it just like a practice paper, because BNU and BU both have the same syllabus. So this question paper, you can easily use it as a practice paper. And dear BNU students, you can go through this question paper, and this question paper will help you to get more marks in the forthcoming examination. So now let's have a discussion of this question paper. And before that, let me tell you guys, this question paper has a duration 2 hours 30 minutes. You are writing your examination for the very first time as an NEP batch, as a first examination as a degree student. So duration 2 hours 30 minutes, and the marks weightage is here 60 marks. So let's begin it. Section A. The section A here refers to the workbook, and the workbook has the weightage for 40 marks, and the textbook, which has 5 chapters, which has a weightage for 20 marks. So you need to score well in the workbook. And also I have done the videos on all the chapters, all the important components of the workbook. So all the chapters links, you can see the description box. Just go through the description box and find all the chapters links, previous year's examinations, question paper discussion. Or you can also see, I'm sorry, you can also go through the playlist on my YouTube channel, the playlist first semester BSc BCU BSc BSc BCA BU BNU. So you can easily go through it. So without much delay, let's begin the question paper discussion. So the very first chapter, very first question you have here, you need to read the passage and you need to answer the questions based on it. So I won't read here. You can pause the video, you can go through it. And this is the passage, and like this, you'll be given here 5 questions. So I'll just tell you that how to solve the questions from the passage. My suggestion is here, you read the passage for 2 times, because it's a 5 marks. You are getting 5 out of 5 just by copying the answer from the passage. So the copying the answer from the passage, which question paper will give this opportunity, and only English. So you copy the answer in such a manner that you write either in a one word, a phrase, or a sentence. Don't copy the paragraphs together. So you may have the questions like WH questions, you may have one word question, you may have the fill up the blanks, you may have the multiple choice questions also. Sometimes they also ask you give the suitable title to the passage. You already have the experience in your second PUC or in the first PUC, solving the passage. So solving the questions from the passage has the weightage for 5 marks. Now the second questions, do as directed. So you have here few questions based on the different topics. So very first question in this section, you have here the questions from referencing skills. So here you have some information about a book, and you need to arrange this information in the either MLA format or the APA format, and this has a weightage for 2 marks. So the question is here, there's a book here, The God of Small Things. Its book's name. It was published in New Delhi. It was published in 2002. It was written by Arundhati Roy, and who is the publisher? Penguin Random House. So there are two important formats are here. One is MLA, one is APA. Any one format you can apply, whichever you feel comfortable. You'll be getting 2 marks. So let's see the answer here. So very first, let's try to understand the MLA format. So you can also go through my video on the referencing skills ML or the APA format. The link is in the description box. For more detail, you can go through my video. Now let's solve this question here. So generally, what do we write here? We write the last name first, Arundhati Roy. So Roy will write first, comma, first name Arundhati, full stop. Afterwards we will write in the double quote the name of the book. We'll write in the double quote the name of the book, The God of Small Thing. I'm sorry, there's a spelling error, please forgive me. The God of Small Things, 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 unquote, full stop. Now who is the publisher? Penguin House. Penguin House is the publisher, comma, where is it published? New Delhi, comma, 2002, and full stop. That is a MLA format. Now there's a very minute thin line difference between these two formats, between ML and APA. So you have seen here the year 2002, we year of publication we are writing at the end in MLA format, but in the APA format we are writing very next to the name of the author in the bracket. Just this is the only one difference between ML and APA format. So apply any one, but I would always say that better you apply this MLA format. Stick to one format, they won't deduct the marks. So you can also watch my video on format, MLA format, APA format, and the link is in description box. So that's the answer for this question for 2 marks. This question is for 2 marks. Now prepare a brochure to explain various activities and events organized by the language club of your college. So obviously they won't ask the same question in the exam in the next examination. So brochure writing, brochure designing, poster designing, both have the same similarity. Don't get confused. Brochure, when we write in the multiple pages, we say brochure. Post in one page. So in the examination, you can't do the brochure. Obviously, you have to design a poster like this. And this question has a weightage for 3 marks. Now listen to me very carefully. See here, when you're writing a brochure, we write our college name, details, date, time, logo, we do some design, right? So you need to give such kind of information. This what the this poster which I have borrowed from Google Images, it's just an example, right? You can use here color pencils also, you can use your pencil, you can give the shade. So try to draw or design in a very decorative manner, so that you can get 3 out of 3 marks. So this is your creativity, that's your creativity, and creativity has no ends, right? Let's move to the next question. Brochure writing 3 marks, reference skills 2 marks, and comprehension passage 5 marks. Now you have here data interpretation. You have a topic in your workbook, data interpretation. So there's a graph here. There's a graph. You need to interpret the graph. First, you find out what is this graph about. So when you go through the graph, we find here this graph indicates the different modes of transport used to travel. Right? So there are different transport: bus, car, bike, food. Right? So 20% people are using bus, 40% people are using car, 30% people are using bike, and only 10% people are using foot. I mean to say, they prefer to walk, they don't use the vehicles. So we need to write this information to words as we are speaking to somebody. So we can say it shows that cars are extensively used to travel, whereas only 10% people prefer to walk. So the maximum usage of the transport is here car, where 40% people are using car, only the 10% people prefer to walk. So that's not a good sign as far as the health is concerned. You can mention like this. Then you compare here, and then afterwards the second rank is here bike. So bike riders are more. If we talk, if we compare the bus here, so 30% people, youngsters are using bike, and only 20% people prefer to travel by the the public transport. So this is how you need to analyze. Just write down 5 6 sentences, and this is for 5 marks. So that's the data interpretation, and I have done video on the data interpretation also. See the link in the description box. Then now we have the questions from the listening and speaking skills. Listening skills, very very important, and I have done very exclusive videos on listening skills, very short answers. Just see the description box, you'll get the videos links. Now the first question you have here, 1 mark questions. Describe any 4 types of communication or language skills. So we have LSRW. 4 skills we have: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Then what is active listening? Active listening is the practice of preparing to listen, observing what verbal, non-verbal messages are being sent. Then you provide a feedback for the sake of showing attentiveness to the message being presented, Active listening is a listening on purpose. Active listening means to say you are listening very much actively, and while listening you are showing your facial expression in such a manner that you are a very active listener, and your facial expression, your body language gives a very positive feedback. That's the meaning of active listening. Active listening has some purpose. Then, which are the two main types of listening? Active listening and passive listening. We have two important types of listening. One is active, one is passive. Mention any examples, any few examples of comprehensive listening. So we can say if somebody asks questions, somebody paraphrase, somebody summarizes, you say something, someone again repeats. That's called here comprehensive listening. Explain critical listening. Critical listening is an important process for understanding because it requires listener to evaluate, judge, form an opinion on what he hears. For example, doctor listens to you very attentively. So doctors listening is called as a critical listening because they evaluate that what kind of disease they have. A judge listens to the advocate very keenly. So that's called critical listening. The listener assesses the strengths and the weaknesses of the content, agrees or disagrees with the information, and also analyzes and synthesizes the material. Then we have one question by fill up the blanks. Full listening involves, what does it involve? It involves paying close and careful attention. Then last one, hearing is a physical act of sound waves entering into the ears. Yes, it's a true statement. So these are the 5 questions, each for 1 mark, one line answer, and select any five, attempt any 5 out of 7. So you have here a lot of choices. Then you have again 2 marks questions, varieties of questions. Write 2 objectives of active listening. So develops relationships, it builds trust, and it also says here you need to be empathetic. It improves your listening skills. Then mention any 4 verbal signs of active listening: paraphrasing, questioning, giving feedback, immediate clarifying. These are the verbal signs. Verbal means by speaking, how do you show that you are listening actively? Then you need to give the examples of non-verbal signs of active listening. Non-verbal: smiling, eye contact, nodding head, facial expression, using gesture, using a posture, right? That's here refers to the active listening. So totally, your listening skill a chapter has a weightage for 10 marks. 5 marks, 5 plus 5, 10 marks. Very important. Watch my videos on listening skill, and the link is in the description box. Just go through it. You'll get 10 out of 10. And also watch my previous lessons, previous question papers videos. You'll get a lot of ideas. Now, introduce now language functions. Introduce your parents to your principal. Very simple, make it very polite, use some expressions. Good morning, sir, please meet my father, Mr. Anil Verma. My father is a software engineer. Meet my mother, Savitri Devi, she's a teacher. So 2 marks questions easily you are getting here. 2 marks. So what inquiry would you make to find out why there's a delay in the courier service? 2 marks. Hello, sir. I have parceled a book last Friday by your courier service. It has not yet reached. Could you please tell me the reason of such delay? Right? So could you please use such kind of expression, if you don't mind, right? Excuse me, sir. Use such kind of polite expressions if you're asking, if you're inquiring something. Greeting is required. Hello, sir. Excuse me, sir. Good morning, sir. Right? How do you request to borrow money from your friend because you have lost your bus fare? So again, requesting. So you need to be very polite. 1 mark question. Hi Suresh, this morning I lost my purse in the BMTC bus. Could you please lend me rupees 100? I need to buy bus ticket. कितना अच्छा लगता है. Easily you are asking with polite request. If you, hey, give me 100 rupees, nobody will give you, right? You need to ask politely. Then you have next questions, instructions to do something. 3 marks questions here. And my favorite, you need to make sandwich by using those ingredients, slices of bread. I'm sorry, again there's a spelling error. BREAD, please do correct. I'm sorry. BRE, I have done this video in a very hurry because you have examination tomorrow, so I thought you should get benefit, the maximum benefit today. Cucumber, tomato, onion, grated cheese. So my steps are not I would say the last one. You can use your own creativity, especially girls are very good in making the sandwich. Step one, cup the, you can go through those steps here. So again, I would say that here simple funda is here. Use the verbs, don't use the sentences, use the verbs. Cut, mix, heat, spread, sprinkle, grill. You use such kind of verbs very first. They are called as the, when you are writing the instructions, you should use the verbs very first. That means to say helping, sorry, main verbs. So we call such sentences as imperative sentences. For example, cut the capsicum, heat little oil, spread butter. You are instructing someone, right? So you can pause the video, you can read these steps here to prepare what, to prepare the sandwich, right? Okay, mouth is getting watered. Let's move to the next one. State the basic steps to open bank account. Again, nowadays we don't go to bank only to open the account. We have the online services also. So you can use both offline, online. Choose how to apply, gather your identification, provide contact details, select a single or joint account, SB account, current account, joint account, accept the terms and conditions, submit your application, fund your new account. So these two questions are the common sense questions, right? Remember, these are very common sense questions. You have to use the main verb very first, main verb, because you are writing the steps, you are giving the instructions. So again, you have choice here, 3 marks questions, right? Now you have the remedial grammar, questioning skills. You have questionings, so you need to write here question tags, 2 marks for question tag. So she has completed her task. This is a statement. What's a, how to write here? First and foremost, you copy the same sentence, remove the full stop, add here comma, right? Copy the same helping verb. What's the helping verb is here? Has. Now see here, this sentence is positive, negative. This sentence is positive, so the question tag should be negative. So we write here hasn't, short form of not, hasn't, has an apostrophe t, and afterwards the pronoun she. So we'll copy she here and we'll mark here question mark. Hasn't she? If you don't write here question mark, you'll get 0 marks, because without using question mark, how can you say that it's a question or it's a question tag, right? So there's one rule is here. If your statement is positive, your question tag should be negative. If your statement is negative, your question tag should be positive, vice versa. Both cannot be in the same, positive and not negative, right? Now, next, they clean the floor. Come on, what's the answer? Don't they? Answer is here. Don't they? They clean the floor. Remove full stop. Apply comma here. Don't they? So why don't they? Why we don't have do here? How to identify? Look at here. It's in the present tense, right? It's in the present tense, and it's a plural subject. So when in the present tense, when there's a plural subject, there's a hidden helping verb, that is a do, and it's in the positive sentence. We'll say here do plus not, don't. We'll copy the same pronoun, don't they. We'll add here question mark, so it is here don't they clean the floor, don't they. So watch my videos on question tag, go through the description box. Okay, move to the next question here. WS questions in your PUC, you have done a lot of practice of this WS question to get the underlined word as an answer. I live in London. What's the answer here? Where do you live? Simple. Where do you live? Right? Next, we will have our lunch at 1 p.m. Obviously, I have another 1 hour to go for lunch. When will you have your lunch? So I want to get this answer at 1 p.m. So I need to frame WS question. Okay. Choose the correct form of the verb and fill in the blanks. 1 mark. This question is from the topic subject verb agreement. So there's a rule, there's a funda here. If the subject is singular, helping verb is singular. If the subject is plural, helping verb is plural. Simple question, right? Children has have played in the ground. So children subject is plural. So in such case, we will use here have, because the have form, have is the plural for the plural subject, has is singular for singular subject, right? So this is the remedial grammar. Now we have linkers. Linkers means conjunctions. You have four choices, though, as well as, because, since, moreover. You need to select any one. So we have question here: she is good at sports. So so not only in sports but also in studies. So we have the option here. We can't say though, we can't say because, we can't say since, we can't say moreover. So we'll say she is good at sport as well as studies, right? Next, the match was delayed of power cut. So obviously there's a reason here, because of power cut. So that's about the 2 marks. So these are the 40 marks questions we have discussed from the workbook. So if you do workbook, is something like a mathematics, out of out, nobody can detect, nobody can reduce the marks here. Okay, so now let's move to the next question here. I'm sorry. Let's go to the next here. The workbook questions. I'm sorry. Yeah, the workbook. Sorry, the course. I'm quite confused here. Coursebook questions, and the coursebook has the weightage for 20 marks. How much? 20 marks weightage. I'm sorry. Yeah, 20 marks weightage. 2 marks, 2 marks, 5 questions, and 5 marks, 2 questions with a lot of choices. You have 5 lessons. Go through my videos. I've done the summaries and the question answers of all the videos. Now, to begin with, where does the air pass through? Where does the air pass through? In the poem, I shall go back in the new year. The air passes through the squares of bamboo mesh. How much money does the poet spend on the old handset in the poem? I shall go back in the new year, rupees 800, right? What promises does the mother take from Alu in living, in the lesson living? She says that don't marry a white woman in America, promise. The next question: who was a priest in Rameshwaram temple in the Wings of Fire lesson? Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri. Sastri or Shastri. Mention any two routine deeds Jainuddin, Kalam's father, did as he started his day in the lesson Wings of Fire. He used to read namaz before dawn. He used to walk down to a small coconut grove. Later, he used to have breakfast. Then the wolf is just an embodiment of imaginary fear. What are the duties performed by women early in the morning in the lesson Relations Between Men and Women by Raja Rammohn Roy? The women used to clean the place, to scour the dishes, to wash the floor, to cook night and day, to prepare and serve food for the husband, father, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and friends. So out of 7 questions, opt only 5. So you'll get 2 into 5, 10 marks. Now we have another 10 marks questions, and out of 4 questions, 5 marks questions, write in 1 page answer. How does the poet want to go back in the poem I shall go back in the new year? And remember, here I have tried to give the answers in such a manner any questions will fit, right? The poem titled I Shall Go Back in the New Year is composed by Nilim Kumar. In this poem, the poet speaks about the resolution made for the new year. He expresses his willingness to go back instead of stepping forward the new year. He would like to look back and reflect what he had accomplished in the past. He gives more importance to the past than the future. He wants to go back from the civilization, and for this he takes some decisive resolution. Excuse me. He rejects the idea of buying a new car this year, as everyone thinks. Everybody plans that this year I'll buy this, I'll buy this. He says, no, I won't buy a new car. He decides to sell his 2 cars and he would like to buy a bicycle. He's quite nature friendly, obviously. Unlike other people, he doesn't wish to build a new house. Instead of building a new house, a new flat, He desires to demolish the concrete walls of his compound and build a bamboo fence which will air to pass through without any intervention towards his home. He'll get natural air, no cement boxes. It shows that he doesn't like walls and he's a man of free thoughts. He emphasizes to return to the past instead of planning for future. Instead of buying a new Android mobile, he wishes to repair his old phone which he bought only for rupees 800. Today, Apple iPhone, right? But he says, I want to buy old handset like Nokia 1600 rupees 800. अभी तो वो भी नहीं मिलेगा. He would like to arrange a new Chinese eye class instead of going for eye checkups. He could easily get Chinese reading glasses for just rupees 850 rupees from the footpath of I'm sorry, the spelling error, from the footpath of Fancy Bazaar. He wishes to go to the past where the civilization was developing. He would like to lead a simple life. That's the resolution he has for the new year. Right? I hope you like this answer. Fancy Bazaar, not the Frenzy Bazaar. Discuss Alu's dream to study abroad and mother's sense of loss in the lesson Living. The story Living by M.G. Vasanji explores many themes, including motherly love and sacrifice, ambition, loneliness, sadness, hope for the future. The story begins in Upanga, a small town in Tanzania, where the narrator, a university student, lives with a family. Her mother, a widow, has sold the store and moved to Upanga so that the narrator and her younger brother, Alu, can focus on their studies. Alu is in his final year of school when Mr. Dattu, an ex-teacher from America, visits and encourages him to apply to study at an American university. Alu is eager to study medicine and begins writing to American universities to obtain the necessary information, and he receives a lot of positive responses. However, his mother is unhappy about the prospect of him going so far away and the expenses involved. To seek advice, Alu's mother meets with Mr. Welji, a school officer who is impressed with Alu's results and recommends that he accepts the offer. He warns the mother that she will lose her son, but Alu protests that many parents send the children overseas without losing them. After a lot of consideration, a lot of conversation, Alu's mother relents and allows him to go abroad for his education, but she put some conditions. She says that he should not get married with a white woman over there. He should not forget. Alu promises to remain true to his values and beliefs and writes excitedly from London, where he stops over before continuing to America. He is thrilled with the new opportunities to presented to him, while his mother wonders if he will ever see him again. The narrator observes her mother's sadness and reflects on the sacrifices that she has made to provide her children with a better future. Why did Kalam consider Jainuddin and Jalaluddin as his childhood icon? Jainuddin, father, Jalaluddin, his brother. Kalam's father, Jainuddin, believed that whenever human beings find themselves alone or in distress, they look for company, they look for help or consolation of some kind. Every suffering or desire, pain or hope finds a special helper. His father considered himself as a helper. He believed that with the help of prayer, worship, or offerings, he can defeat evil or self destructive forces. But with the help of prayer, he knew that they cannot solve day to day problems. Prayer of such kind of prayer emanated fear among the people. Fear always prevents one's hope from being fulfilled. Happiness and peace of mind come to us from within and not from external sources. Once a person knows this, setbacks and hurdles become temporary. Kalam was very much influenced by his father's philosophy. Abdul Kalam was just about 6 years old when his father decided to put his philosophy into practice. Kalam learned from his parents their honesty, self-discipline, kindness, and deep-rooted faith in goodness. Ahmad Jalaluddin, Kalam's brother, had become his close friend when the Pamban Bridge had collapsed during the cyclonic storm. When a train full of passengers was crossing over it, Kalam was about 15 years older than, sorry, Jainuddin was about 15 years older than Kalam, and he used to call Kalam as Ajad. They used to go for long walks together every evening, and they used to have a discussion over spiritual matters. He never doubted that the prayers in the temple reached the same destination as the ones offered in a mosque. He only wondered whether Jalaluddin had any other special connection to God. Jalaluddin's schooling had been limited principally because of his family's straitened, very difficult circumstances. Incidentally, at the time he speaks of, he was the only person on the island who could write English. He wrote letters for almost anybody in need, be they letters for application or any other letters. Jalaluddin always spoke to Kalam about educated people, scientific discoveries, contemporary literature, and the achievements of medical science. It was he who made Kalam aware of a brave new world beyond our narrow confines. He often encouraged Kalam to read all types of books and visit his home to borrow books. So that was influence of Jainuddin and Jalaluddin on Kalam. Last question of this question paper. What are the distressing situations women endure in the lesson relations between men and women by Raja Rammohn Roy? This extract from Raja Rammohn Roy's writing taken from Ramchandra Guha's book Makers of Modern India throws light on the abominable practices like sati, caste system, gender discrimination. The author speaks about the general inferiority of women and the male dominated community which take the benefit of women's corporal weakness. They are described as incapable of acquiring excellent merit. The author blames male dominated society for not giving an opportunity to exhibit their natural capacity. They have been void of education and acquirements. To become rich, a woman's husband may indulge in crimes. If her husband is poor, she suffers every kind of trouble, and when he becomes rich, she is altogether heartbroken. All this pain and affliction, their virtue all alone enable them to support. Where a husband takes two or three wives to live with him, they are subject to mental miseries and constant quarrels. The author laments that the man shows no compassion to the women who are dependent and exposed to every misery, and they should be exempted for being tied down and burned to death. A woman endures 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 such circumstances of the life courageously without uttering a single word of protest. Hence, the author describes the old age traditions which have existed over the centuries. These traditions still leave a footprints in the modern India. So friends, this is how I have tried to solve the question paper of BNU 2023 examination, first semester B.Sc BCA. And the BU guys, BU students, this question paper will be very much useful for you as a practice paper, right? So I wish you good luck for the forthcoming examination. Thank you so much for watching this video. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. You can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Please do subscribe the channel, click on the like button for more videos on literature, workbook, pronunciation, grammar, communication skills, presentation skills, interview skills. Stay in tune with Mukesh English. Thank you once again.